Okay, good, we're safe. Okay, capturing to multi-folders. Let's look how do this.
If you're a session expert, don't worry, because you probably might pick up a couple of tips, and it's going to be pretty brief. So I'm going to close that down, and we'll look at exactly what the session is. So this one we're going to come back to when we start talking about workflow and organizational things. But for the easy part, capture content, I'm going to say File, New Session. And the first dialog that comes up asks us exactly for the name of our session. And the session is basically a visible folder structure with 4 simple folders that are created by default. So let's say I'm going to do a headshot session of a few different people. So just one example. So I'll say headshot here and give it a name. We can place our session wherever we like. By default, it'll go into the pictures folder. If you want to change the location, you can just tap this box and then we can choose wherever we want to put our session. We can put it on an external drive, we can put it on an internal drive, not super important. Best performance, especially if you're shooting tethered, is the internal drive of your laptop. Okay, so let's say okay, and a brand new empty session opens up. And let's right click up the top, nice little shortcut. This shows you my path of the session. So if we right click on the title, and let's see what Capture One has created. So in its most simplistic form, this is a session. The idea is you shoot tethered to the capture folder or import to the capture folder in a very similar way as you would with the catalog. You move selected image to the select folder, and then you process to the output. And any sort of crap that you don't want, you can throw in the trash. Now you'll see these 4 folders, capture, output, selects, trash, have their counterparts shown here in the first tool tab, capture, selects, output, and trash. So these are a shortcut to these various different folders, and you can drag and drop between those folders at any point. Equally, you can drag and drop between folders in the Finder or Windows Explorer, and Capture One will keep up with the changes, which a catalog cannot do. Not just a Capture One catalog, a Lightroom catalog, or any other manufacturer. If you move images around between folders, you have to do some kind of synchronization. Capture One is always watching these folders, and therefore it's automatic. That's the first huge benefit that we're going to talk about. Now, as I said, this is in its most simplistic form, but let's say we want to expand this out. And as an example, let's make some more capture folders. So let's go for, let's make a new folder, and we call this, say we're doing person number 1. They have a name, of course, but let's just call it person 1. Let's make another new folder. Can't type today, it seems. Person 2, and finally, let's make another new folder, person 3. So you can expand the session however you like. Now, by default, Capture One is watching these 4 folders, capture, output, selects, trash. If you want Capture One to also monitor other folders and include them in search terms and so on, or filtering as well, or using the search bar down here, what we have to do is pick these up and drag them to session favorites. Now, Capture One will know that these also need to be part of searches that you might carry out. And it also means we have fast access to these various other folders. Last little thing to mention on sessions is that this is a shortcut to the current capture folder. So if I want person 1 to be a capture folder, especially when I start shooting them tethered, I can right click and say, set this as the capture folder. And then a little camera icon pops up. And if I was to shoot tethered, images would go straight into person 1. Then if I wanted to shoot to this folder, I could right click and set that as the capture folder and so on. So if you're
Perfect. So as you can see, it's a very simple process of creating the capture folders, but this is very, very beneficial when you are working with multiple items. And you, by example, you're photographing 3 different teacups, or you're photographing if for an online store, and then you have to photograph like 20 of each product that they're going to be selling online. So you don't want to put all of those into one folder, because then it's going to be so much work at the time of selecting the images, showing to your client. So then if you could photograph each of those items individually in folders, will make your workflow way more efficient, more organized, and then at the time of looking at your session, you're going to have everything organized. So this is just going to be as easy as knowing that you open your session. Let's just do a quick sample, pretty quick. He just did. So let me go to my capture folder. And then, as he told you, once you click on it on the top of your session, right click on it, you are able to navigate through your session. And in this case, we have our capture folder, output, selects, and trash. So then in your capture folder, you will be creating folders. Always make sure that when you are going to create a folder, you are on your capture folder. So Command Shift N is a keyboard shortcut to new folder. Cactus 2. So I did these two folders. I select them. To select multiple folders, just click the first one, and then with Command, press on your computer, select the other one. And then once you have them done, you're gonna drag them. You're gonna drag them into your session favorites. See? Make sure, pay attention to this, because see how when you are trying to drag it, it can go up or underneath. Make sure that it goes underneath. So that way it gets under the session session favorites. Yeah, perfect. So then at the time of shooting, by example, I'm ready to shoot cactus number 1, right click and set as capture folder. This is always gonna pop in. Would you like to remember the previous capture folder as a favorite? No. Why you say no? Because if you say yes, every time that you photograph, immediately everything is gonna keep going to that folder. And we don't want that to happen, because our main folder is the capture folder. We are just destinating this for a short period of time while we're photographing the cactus number 1 or the subject number 1. So we don't want this to be our capture folder as the favorite. So we're always gonna say no, or you can do not ask me again and just say no. So if I start photographing right now, get the camera on. If I'm photographing right now, let's just quickly take some pictures. Otherwise, turn it on. Okay,
when you right-clicked on Cactus 1, what did you click on?
On set as capture folder.
Set as capture folder. Okay.
Set as capture folder, correct. So then right now, when you know you are on the right folder, you will see the camera here. And I was able to find the same cursor that he has. I find it take like 2 hours trying to find it. So it's easy for you to find where I'm showing you. This green theme is very good. Cool. So I'm gonna take an image right now. This is a very random setup, so nothing fancy. Let me just make sure the camera is there. I'm gonna have to restart my capture 1. Does everyone were able to download Capture 120? I hope everyone has been able, because we're gonna be using it a lot. So hope everyone has Capture 120. It looks like I'm having some other connections. Remember, anytime you have tether connection issues, try to plug in your tether cord into another port. By restarting your camera. If that doesn't work. The first one that I always do is restart the session. Make sure that when you restart the session, you are completely exit the application and you reopen it again. Make sure your cable is not coiled, and see, once you troubleshoot those things, most of the time your camera comes back to life. And I love when these kind of things happen because that's the best way to know how to do it. I love the camera focus because if you click on autofocus, it's gonna focus right away. Oh, Naila is coming back. Okay, cool. And this will help you autofocus. And then I'm not using a light, so I'm like just using available light. Let's just take a random image. Have that. Gonna take a few seconds to come in. Now we have here. Oh, not very good. Center. Move it a little bit more to the center. Okay. Pretty much once you are working on Capture One, you can do a lot of your work straight from your computer. Okay, so we have that in the first folder, and then if I go check now on my folder structure, I can see that I have, go back there, under Cactus One, the 2 images that I took over there. So now, if I'm gonna take an image of the cactus number 1, I go right click and set capture folder for cactus 2. So this is the whole idea of the multi-folders. It's to be able to organize your files, and then at the time that the client come and ask me, or I want to show, I have everything organized on my folder. And then at the time of me organizing the images, 5-star color rating, this is gonna be a very useful organization. Cool. But then now, once we have them in here, how can we go further organizing them more? So I'm gonna show you how to do smart folders. So let's go back to the presentation. And the next one that I wanna show you is how to do work with smart folders. So let's.
Nothing to stop you using a normal keyboard as well. And I'm gonna use this one so you can visually see a bit better how it works. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is for all the front images, we're going to mark them green. So let me scroll down and we're going to shift click through until we get to the last front image like so. And then on my keyboard, we've got number 7 is set to green. So I'm going to tap that. That's going to tag everything green. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to find our rear shots, which stops here. And I'm going to tag them red, which is number 9. Like so. And then finally, we're going to go to the detail shots, like so, and we're going to tag them blue. Now, I don't have a blue shortcut set up, nothing to stop you assigning one. And let's go to adjustments, color tag, so you can see where they are. So you can see my shortcuts here, and we can say blue, and then that will add blue to every single image, like so. Yes, it's Mac only, John. I mean, it is USB, so there's no reason why it wouldn't work on a PC, but I guess you've got some non-PC buttons like the command button and so on. But I actually don't see a reason why it wouldn't work on PC, but I haven't tried it myself. So I don't want to say yes, it's guaranteed, but I haven't tried it. Okay, so we've got...
Any of you have PC computers? Did any of you have PC? Because I'm always in my head that we all use Mac, but in case anyone has PC, everything still works. It's just that the commands might shift a little bit, but once you open your Capture One, you will be able to range that.
I have PC. I'm good.
Say that again?
Yeah, I use the PC, but I have no question right now.
Okay, perfect.
And blues. And it would be nice if we could